Hello and welcome to the news updates on AFRICUNIA television, reaching you live from our studio in the nation's commercial capital, Lagos, Nigeria. I am Deborah Ezeh. Many thanks for joining me on the news today. We begin from Nigeria. The chairman of the Independent National Electoral Commission, Professor Mahmood Yakubu, has said insecurity may hamper election in the northwest and southeast states. Yakubu said the concern or the country was concerning, noting that the security challenge, which was hitherto restricted to the northeast region, has now spread to other parts of the country. According to INEC, over 41 attacks, excluding, have been carried out against its office across 14 states since the 2019 general elections, with the southeast recording 13 attacks. In all, the election body recorded 9 attacks in 2019, 21 incidents in 2020, and over 12 as of May 2021. It also lost 9,836 smart card readers, 345 ballot boxes, and 135 voting cubicles, among other assets. But speaking in Washington, the INEC chairman, however, said he has received assurances from the service chiefs that they would secure the voting environment during the 2023 polls. Yakubu disclosed that the commission has printed over 50% of the permanent voters' card, which will be available by November. And now moving on, suspected kidnappers have hijacked a fully loaded commercial bus conveying 18 passengers along Port Harcourt Owerri Road at Omurele community in Ikwere, local council of Rivers State. Commercial bus driver identified as Emeka, who plies the route, was said to be returning from Owerri to Port Harcourt with 18 passengers and his conductor when they were ambushed at gunpoint by hoodlums on Wednesday night. Another who plies the same route and was driving behind the victim explained that the kidnappers shot the driver in the leg. He added that the kidnappers abandoned the driver in the pool of his own blood as they diverted the passenger on board into a nearby forest. The eyewitness, who gave his name as Dan Jumbo, said the victim was immediately rushed to the hospital for medical attention, while his vehicle was still abandoned within the pipeline area along the Omurele Elele axis of Port Harcourt Owerri Road, adding that the matter has been reported to Elele Division. Meanwhile, the spokesperson for Rivers State Police Command, Grace Iringe Koko, promised to reach out after confirming the incident, but she was yet to do so at press time. And now still in Nigeria, troops of Operation Andinkai, in collaboration with the Civilian Joint Task Force, have neutralized 19 Islamic State of West African Province terrorists in Ngala Council of Borno State. The terrorists were killed after soldiers overcame an ambush during a patrol of Dikwa Gamboru Azes, confirming the incident yesterday in Maiduguri. A counterinsurgency expert in the Lake Chad region, Zagazola Makama, disclosed a large number of the terrorists laid an ambush for the troops on patrol and began firing from gun truck and motorcycles, adding that the military overcame in the nearly 1-hour gun duel and no fatality were recorded on the side of soldiers, and only 2 were injured and evacuated for treatment at Maiduguri Hospital. We go on a short break now, and when we come back, it's more updates from the African scene. Do stay with me. How to submit your KYC details on the AFRICUNIA Bank. Go to your AFRICUNIA Bank app dashboard and select the profile option, which shows your personal details, including your registered name and email address. To submit your KYC, click the Identification Verification and Address Verification option to upload your identity type, identity number, identity proof, and your address proof, respectively. Then you're ready to begin banking. AFRICUNIA Bank, indigenous for all. And now welcome back. World Health Organization Chief Tedros Adhanom Ghebreyesus said a clinical trial of vaccines to combat the Sudan strain of Ebola could start within weeks as an outbreak of the disease in Uganda reached the capital, stirring alarm. The East African country declared an outbreak of Ebola on September 20th and said infections were being caused by the Sudan strain. Uganda Health Ministry has confirmed a total of 54 Ebola cases and 19 deaths. There have been no worries the spread of infection in Uganda could be difficult to control because currently there is no vaccine for the Sudan strain. The epicenter of the infection is a cluster of 5 districts in central Uganda. In a virtual address to a meeting of Africa regional health officials in Kampala, Tedros says several vaccines were currently being developed that could deal with the Sudan strain. Tedros did not provide details of the vaccine due for trial, such as their names or which firm developed them. Meanwhile, Egypt is pushing to tie up a crucial financial package from the International Monetary Fund at annual meetings in Washington this week, hoping to stem a currency crisis that has restricted imports and sparked market unease over foreign debt repayment. Egypt began talks with the IMF for a financial support package in March, soon after the Ukrainian crisis threw its already unsettled finances into further disarray and led foreign investors to pull nearly $20 billion out of Egyptian treasury markets in a matter of weeks. Now, the foreign exchange shortage has led to a sharp drop in non-oil imports, which fell by 20% in the April-June central bank recorded. Now, this has led to a shortage of inputs for both factories and retailers and a backlog of goods and commodities, including wheat at port. Now, Egypt's newly appointed central bank governor, Ezeh Abdallah, and along Mohammed Ahmed are leading talks in Washington, where a number of countries squeezed by global pressures are seeking support. Now, details of an IMF deal remain unclear, but it would likely include commitment to allowing the currency to move freely against foreign currencies, to give the private sector more room to participate in the economy and a vigorous sale of state assets. Still on the African scene, Chad's President Mohamed Idris Deby named opposition party leader Saleh Kebzabo the new prime minister. The appointment, announced on state television, comes 2 days after President Mohamed Idris Deby said he plans to form a government of national unity as he extended his time in power by 2 years. Deby was sworn in on Monday as president for the new phase of the transition, which aims to be more inclusive and quell political and social division. I can only agree with those who for the setting up of a military body. It looks like a coup, Kebzabo said. Now, Kebzabo, leader of the National Union for Democracy and Renewal, was runner-up in the nation's 2016 presidential election. He was the first critic of Deby's father, slain former President Idris Deby. Now, Chad is now forming a new government to lead the Central African country onto democratic elections in 2024. Now, up next, the top headlines from the foreign scene. Do stay with me. And that's all we can take on News Update today. Do follow all our social media platforms displaying on your screen to stay connected and updated for news and subsequent programs. And you can also link us up on www.africuniatv. Once again, I am Deborah Ezeh. Have a lovely afternoon.